Hey everyone, today we're diving deep into XRP, and I've got some absolutely incredible insights to share with you that are going to blow your mind. Let's start with this bombshell from Satamint. They're saying XRP is still undervalued, even after this market recovery we've been seeing. And you know what? I couldn't agree more. I think XRP is massively undervalued right now. Here's my take on what happened after the 2024 election. That wasn't XRP starting its real run. That was just a correction, folks. We haven't even begun to see XRP's true potential unleashed. I genuinely believe we have such a long road ahead for XRP's recovery from that brutal Ripple versus SEC case. Think about it. Back in 2021, before all this legal drama, everyone was already predicting XRP would hit $10 plus. So imagine where we're headed now. Now here's where things get absolutely insane. An analyst just revealed XRP's secret weapon that could power, get ready for this, $15.5 trillion. This comes from Digital Perspectives, and they're talking about one of XRP's hidden gems, the DEX, the decentralized exchange called Hidden Road. We're looking at $3 trillion from Treasury, $12.5 trillion total. That's $15.5 trillion preparing to flow across the XRP ledger right now. And here's the kicker. We're actually getting that market infrastructure bill passed and signed into law. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's happening, people. Just imagine for a second, $15.5 trillion running across the XRP ledger. That is absolutely game-changing. The only thing we're waiting on now? Regulations. That's it. Speaking of regulations, I've got some hot intel from Eleanor Tourette. She just had a call with an industry source who met with a group of Senate Democrats working on market structure legislation. Here's what's coming. They're preparing for a possible markup of a bipartisan market structure bill the week of December 8th. Now, Senator Tim Scott's office hasn't commented yet, but this lines up perfectly with his recent goal of marking up a banking bill next month. The committee hasn't released the bipartisan text yet, but Senate Agriculture Chair John Boozman wants a markup of his committee's text in early December. Plus, the Senate is in session the week after December 8th, so we might see markups landing around December 15th, right before Christmas break. Now, we all know how Congress works. Dates are rarely set in stone. But imagine if this gets done before Christmas and then the president signs it in early January. That would be absolutely incredible timing for us. Here's something massive that's flying under the radar. The SEC's Investor Advisory Committee is meeting on December 4th to discuss tokenization of stocks, securities, real estate, and other real-world assets. This is huge, guys. If tokenization gets the green light, we're going to see enormous value flowing on-chain. Real-world assets are going to be absolutely massive for crypto, and XRP is positioned perfectly for this. Now, let me address something important about Swift that a lot of people are getting wrong. This latest trial with Citi is a perfect example of what's really happening. Instead of being completely replaced, Swift is actually adapting their existing infrastructure to work alongside digital assets. I keep seeing people follow this outdated theory that Swift is just going to disappear, but meanwhile, they're out here running landmark trials with Citi to settle both fiat and digital currencies in the same workflow. They're doing this by upgrading their existing infrastructure with blockchain connectors, orchestrators, and smart contracts, not replacing everything. But here's the thing. Swift is not going to get their settlement times and cross-border payment times down to 3 to 5 seconds. And that's where Ripple is going to absolutely dominate and snag tons of business away from Swift. Who knows? Maybe over time, Ripple even acquires Swift. I don't think Swift will disappear in the next couple of years, but they're definitely going to become less and less relevant. Why? Because Swift has a lot of very unhappy customers right now. The big problem for Swift is simple. They don't actually settle transactions. That's a massive issue that's not going away. Here's some fascinating data from VET. The last 10 RLUSD events happened on the XRP ledger. Remember, only institutions can mint RLUSD directly with Ripple, not retail investors. What does this tell us? We're seeing institutional liquidity flowing onto the XRP ledger. I've noticed this shift myself. Ripple is now minting RLUSD on the XRP ledger instead of Ethereum. This transformation is happening right before our eyes. Finally, let's talk about the big question everyone's asking. Who's going to dethrone Bitcoin? The polls show XRP leading with 76.6% of the vote, followed by Ethereum at 13.6%, and then other options trailing behind. I keep hearing Tom Lee say that Ethereum will dethrone Bitcoin, but we all know the real answer. It's going to be XRP. Why? Because XRP fixes every single problem that Bitcoin has. And here's the kicker that most people don't know. Bitcoin was actually created by some of the same engineers who built XRP. Bitcoin was always meant to be a beta test coin. XRP is the real deal, and these numbers prove it. The institutional money knows it, the technology proves it, and soon the entire market will recognize it. And if this momentum keeps building, we could actually see XRP dethrone Bitcoin. Here's some mind-blowing data that just came out. Franklin's XRP-Z and Grayscale's GXRP absolutely crushed it on their launch day. We're talking $62.6 million and $67.4 million respectively. These numbers didn't just beat expectations, they completely shattered Canary's XRP-C record and became the best ETF debuts we've seen in 2025 so far. Now here's what I'm watching closely. Those inflows. If we keep seeing more and more money pouring into these XRP ETFs, it's just a matter of time before something incredible happens. They're going to exhaust the over-the-counter supply and the dark pools, and then guess what? They'll be forced to buy directly on the exchanges. When that happens, folks, we're talking 3-digit prices, and fast. Post-XRP ETF launch, Franklin Templeton is already talking about diversified crypto portfolios as the next big thing. They're not stopping at XRP, they're looking at ETFs across the board. This tells us that institutions are going to diversify into other ETFs. Maybe they'll have XRP ETFs, but they'll also want HBAR ETFs, and who knows what else. And you know what? This is exactly what we should be doing too. I've always said this, never put all your eggs in one basket. If you're holding XRP, you should also be looking at XLM, HBAR, XDC, QNT, and others. The institutions are thinking the same way. They're not just going to dump everything into XRP ETFs, they're going to spread that money around strategically. Here's something interesting that could impact our market. Tax refunds in 2026 are projected to be the largest in US history, with an extra $1,000 for the average filer. The moment I saw this article, people started talking about money flowing into crypto. And sure, some crypto investors are definitely going to take that $1,000 and throw it straight into the market. But let's be realistic here. Most people aren't even invested in crypto yet. A lot of folks are going to get this refund and just blow it like they always do. Most Americans don't invest in anything. I've talked to so many people over time, and while some are warming up to crypto now, that's definitely true. Most people are either paying bills or living paycheck to paycheck. So honestly, a lot of this refund money is probably going to end up spent at bars on weekends or paying off debts. But hey, even if just a fraction flows into crypto, that's still significant money. Now, here's something that should have everyone's attention. S&P just cut Tether's UST stability score to weak level, saying their reserves can absorb a Bitcoin drop. What they're basically saying is if Bitcoin crashes, Tether is going to lose its peg. And you know what? I've been saying this forever. Tether can't even pass a basic audit. They can't pass MiCA regulations. Tether is absolutely doomed in the United States. Why do you think they created that separate US stablecoin just for American markets? But here's the real kicker. What happens when every other country starts adopting US-style regulations and MiCA-like rules? Tether's time is almost up. And here's how Tether is trying to fight back. They bought more gold last quarter than every single central bank. But wait a minute, why isn't Tether buying Bitcoin? If Bitcoin is supposed to be digital gold, shouldn't that be able to keep their stablecoin pegged to the dollar? This exposes everything. Tether knows that Bitcoin is a complete sham. The only reason they keep propping it up is because they know there's money to be made. Other than that, Tether couldn't care less about Bitcoin. Think about it. They wouldn't be buying physical gold if they truly believed Bitcoin was digital gold. That tells you everything you need to know about what they really think of Bitcoin's long-term value. But here's the beautiful part for us XRP investors. Even if Tether depegs and brings the entire market crashing down, the phoenix will rise from those ashes. XRP has real utility, real partnerships, and real institutional backing. When the dust settles from all this market manipulation and fake digital gold nonsense, XRP will be standing tall. What do you think about these developments? Are you ready for what's coming? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights like this.